Hi everyone, this is Primetime Combat and I'm joined today by one of UK's top MMA prospects, 9-1 professional fighting out of Middlesbrough, UK, George Hardwick. George, thank you very much for joining me today.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
So George, before we discuss your next fight, let's recap your fantastic career so far. You were 4-1 as an amateur before making your professional debut at 19 years old. You have fought for some fantastic promotions such as Bellator MMA where you were 2-0 and now fighting for Cage Warriors where you are 3-1. Firstly, what was the experience like fighting for Bellator?
Bellator, well, there were two very different experiences. The first, debut for Bellator was in Dublin. That came about just 3 weeks' notice. Initially, that was my plan to go back down to lightweight, but this came up at welterweight. And then it turned into middleweight, and we negotiated it to a contract weight for £180. And I was nowhere near that. I was like 174. I weighed in like full joggy bottoms, everything, 174. And that fight was just a very easy experience. Didn't have a long drawn out fight camp. Had no dieting. I had a burger and house fries and a house salad night before the weigh-in. Went around Dublin. Could have donuts before the weigh-in, and they're full of donuts. And then the fight was really easy. I took about two punches. So that was a very weird experience. And then the second one was going back down to lightweight. It was a big cut. First cut in a long time. And that was during COVID. And that was going all the way to Milan to sit in a hotel room for a full week, which was a weird environment, being just in like a hotel room or a workout room for a full week before the fight. I was fine with it. I was chill with it. But I could see a lot of fighters kind of defeating themselves mentally before that, wearing themselves out, being in that kind of weird luxury prison environment.
So if we go back to your first fight in Bellator, you defeated Richard Keeley by an inverted guillotine choke. What I did realize is, obviously it's in Ireland, Richard's Irish, and the crowd was very quiet after the fight. So what was that feeling like for you?
I think because it wasn't that competitive a fight, it was very just because it was a very grappling focused fight. I thought where his chance is to land a KO punch. He's got some weight on me, so he might have some extra power in it. I don't want to mess with that. I'll just take him down, take him down, take him down. So it's very similar to just taking someone down in the gym and then submitting them. It's like you don't knock people out in the gym. So if you do that in a fight, it's like a different experience. But you do it plenty of times where you'll roll with someone, submit them, and you just go again. And I was kind of in that mode. Like I wasn't really perceptive with the crowd. I got the submission. I'm like, oh yeah, cheers, mate. Yeah, good fight. Yeah,
And
it was all anticlimactic almost.
yeah, and also your second fight, what was the feeling like for the Hardwick family when both you and your brother both fought at Bellator Euro Series 8?
Um, it was an interesting one. I had to kind of because Harry fought first, and he fought Smolin, and I kind of had to just like detach myself from his fight because I was fighting second, but there was no advantage to getting psychologically involved in his fight. If he won and I was jumping around all happy, it wouldn't help me. If he lost and I was like, shit, man, going with the up and down of the fight, oh, fuck's sake, he lost. That wouldn't help me. So I just kind of had to, whenever Harry's fought first, I've just kind of had to detach myself from it.
Yeah, I understand that can be very difficult as well, especially being your brother. So did you watch the fight or did you just hear
Not
about
at
the
the
result?
time. Not at the time. I think, what's the guy's name? Because I saw on YouTube, I was going on YouTube when the live stream was getting suggested to me, the Bellator Euro Series live stream. And I was watching, what's the guy's name who goes, hi, yeah, and insults everyone's fried rice. Oh, forgot the guy's name. He like insults Jamie Oliver's fried rice, but I was just watching those videos.
Uncle something, right?
Uncle Roger, yeah.
Uncle Roger, yes, that's right, yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I saw Harry's fight getting suggested. Scrolled past it and watched Uncle Roger. Got into the changing room. Harry came in, a little bruised here and there. I was like, what happened? And he went, oh, lost decision. All right. And then I just got my hand wraps and ready for my fight.
So obviously after your second fight with Bellator, where you defeated Nicolo Soli, what made you want to sign for Cage Warriors instead of renewing with Bellator?
So we're going to fight in Bellator. He was thinking of fighting in Bellator again, but then they were cutting a lot of fighters, even some fighters coming off of wins. They didn't really seem to have much interest in returning to Euro Series at that point. Like it was a long time after that until they returned to the Euro Series. So we looked around different places trying to fight. The only one that was successful was Harry got a fight in Croatia on Fight Night Championship. Yeah, and that was during COVID, and it was a massive ball ache. It cost us a lot more money in PCR tests and all that nonsense than Harry made from it. I mean, he needed that fight, and then we thought, who's gonna get us consistent fights? Who's been having fights all through the pandemic? And Cage Warriors, they were the best ones.
Right. And so now after signing with Cage Warriors, you're on a free fight finishing streak. What has the experience so far been like fighting for Cage Warriors, and what makes it different to Bellator?
Uh, I think Cage Warriors is just the smoothest show that I've been involved in. The smoothest show. You know exactly when you're on. Like um, like before my fight with Keeley, you know how there's prelims and postlims, and I was a prelim. I was top of the prelims. If they can't fit you onto the prelims, time wise, broadcast wise, you go to a postlim, and that would be really annoying because it would mean having to sit around 5 to 6 hours whilst the whole show happens, and then fight like 1 in the morning or something stupid. I had a runner tell me you're going to be a postlim, so I just finished my moment. You're going to be a postlim. You know, you can chill out, cool off a bit, take your gloves off if you want, because it's going to be a few hours. I thought, shit, well, whatever. And then the second he said that, the fight going on was getting finished. Georgie Carhanian like got a guillotine and was like, "That's for my boy," or whatever he was. And then he said, "We're going on the prelims, but we got to go now." And we sprinted all through the arena, you know, quick check and just sprinting into the cage to be the last prelim. And it was fun, but it wasn't as smooth. Cage Warriors is just on time. Everything is smooth. Everything runs like clockwork.
It really does surprise me to hear that about Bellator because you'd think for such a top MMA promotion, you'd think they would sort stuff like that out already and have everyone prepared. So
I
that
don't know.
that is very surprising to hear.
I don't know if it was because they had almost like so many different cards. They had like a prelim card with absolutely loads of fighters, a UK focused card, and then a US focused card. It was kind of like three cards in one, but it didn't bother me.
So moving on, obviously these three impressive performances you've had at Cage Warriors have got you a very deserved title fight next, where you will fight against Kyle Driscoll at Cage Warriors 141 in London on July 22nd for the vacant Cage Warriors Lightweight Championship. How long ago did you know of this fight, and how has preparation been so far?
This has been the longest I've known of a fight. Longest that it's been like signed up. It's been months and months. It's been that long I've forgotten. Um, yeah, I haven't had this much notice for a fight ever really. It's a bit weird, but it's just giving me longer to prepare.
And how has preparation been?
It's been really, really good. Normally, by this point in camp, I'm just like beaten up, knackered. I'm in the diet, and I'm kind of like, oh, I'm just looking forward to a few days where I can just chill and be a normal human. And I'm not bothered about that at all. I've been training harder for this fight than any other fight, and I'm just more and more energized for every session. I don't know if that's because I've just started drinking coffee recently. Maybe it's due to that. I'm on the Americanos most days, but I've just got this energy for like I've got an energy for fighting in the way like when I started, where it's all I want to do is like I just want to go home and watch fights, and the watching fights makes me want to go and train, and then when I go home, I watch more fights. I'm just back and forth. I have my time like out of it, relaxing. You know, I need to switch my brain off sometimes, but I'm just like back and forth between watching fights and studying stuff. Oh yeah, I want to do that. I'm in the gym, doing it. Oh, sick. Train loads, rest, then end up watching a fight. Okay, I want to do that. Back to the gym, blah blah blah. And there's no like desire to go out drinking, go out and just binge and get myself back up to 90 kilos like I do after some fights. I'm just excited about the whole fight week process.
And obviously, I believe this will be your first 5 round fight you've ever fought in, right?
Yeah.
So how different has training been in terms of preparing for a 5 round fight as opposed to a 3 round fight?
So there's like just slightly lengthening it, making sure I get 5 rounds, making sure I get just a few more rounds than normal. Not massively different. One of the biggest differences, we do this thing called position pads where we just alternate short blasts. Say it'd be 90 seconds you're grappling out of a bad position, 90 seconds you're blasting pads, 90 seconds you're grappling out of a bad position, wrestling, doing whatever, 90 seconds you're blasting pads. And that's 1 round. 3 rounds of that is pretty brutal. But I've been doing 5 rounders of that, and it's like 5-6 minute rounds. And if you're in a bad position by the end of that 90 seconds, we just pause the timer. So it's ending up like 30-35 minutes of just really grueling work. That's one of the main differences there.
And are you feeling, obviously you mentioned that this camp is feeling great. Obviously, you feeling more fitter and maybe more technical while doing those exercises?
Yeah, I'm feeling like ridiculously fit. I do, because obviously as a wrestler, I've been doing these different rounds where I get like 2 or 3 people, stick them onto single legs, stick me in a bad position, like I'm stuck on a wrist ride or whatever. They're on my back, they're mounting me. And I've just got to get out, get out, get out. As soon as I'm out of the position, someone else jumps in. And I've been doing those, and they're really horrible. But I'll do it for 5 minutes, expending all this energy. It's the round stops for 10 seconds, and I'm back to normal. That recovery is really fast. It was like last Saturday, I was just super chilled on the evening. But my heart rate's quite slow. I took a resting heart rate, and it's like 37, 36. Like, fucking hell. Like, this is the fittest I felt for any fight camp ever.
No, that's fantastic. So if we talk a little bit about your opponent, Kyle Driscoll, he has several wins in LFA, a win at Dana White's Contender Series, and 2 wins under the Cage Warriors banner. How much have you watched of him so far, and what do you make of his style?
I've watched his recent fights. Uh, I haven't actually seen any of his losses because I'm thinking that long ago, he's going to be that different. That I don't want to read into his losses and expect him to do the same thing because it's been a while. He's not like fan friendly impressive in terms of putting people out or doing like his training partners, the smash. He's not really doing that. He's kind of grinding these decisions out. There's nice wrestling exchanges in it. He's got tidy stand up, but it's not like mind blowing to anyone. I've always got to be ready that he's got different tricks in his up his sleeve, whatever. But he's not doing like mind blowing performances where he's bringing different tricks out the hat or he's putting himself in mad danger to get these opportunities. But he's very skilled all around, and I'm really excited to see what this wrestling's like.
Yeah, and this will be your opponent's first time he has fought away from his native USA. So he'll be fighting on your territory while the fans will be really behind you and against him. So how much of a difference could this make?
I don't know. The fans aren't in the cage. I do say that, like, uh, I don't really care about anything outside that's happening. It's just in the fight. I, I'm selfish. I don't do this for anyone else. I do this because I enjoy it, and I don't want my enjoyment to be interfered with because I'm thinking about doing it for someone else with all these cliched reasons. I do it for my country, my flag. That being said, it was fun. In the last fight, I was fighting the Polish guy, Lucas Capera, and there was a bunch of people in the Indigo going, ole, 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 ole. Like, we're just in a clinch here. Not much is going on, you know. Calm down a bit. Calm down until we start hitting them.
It's quite common nowadays for fighters to head overseas to places like Thailand to get some training with a different environment. Is this something you've ever done or considered?
I've never moved overseas really to train. No, I haven't. I've got the thought of it. I'd want to do it at some point. It sounds cool. But there's so many unreal fighters in the Northeast and unreal teams in the Northeast that represent Middlesbrough in the Northeast that, it's not crossed my mind really. I'll do it at some point. I just haven't put a plan together to do that.
And is there any location that you would like to go to?
I mean, I'd love to, you mentioned Thailand. My first ever coach, Kin, was from Thailand. There's a Muay Thai coach who had like over 250 fights, and he's teaching in Hua Hin, I think. I think he's still teaching, and I would love to go over and train with him again. You get rounds at Tiger or some big MMA gym over there.
That's great. So now we'll move on to the quickfire questions. So just to explain this, these are some questions here that just shows, you know, you can show off your knowledge of the sport, and also we can find out a lot what you think about the sport. So the first question is, what is your favorite fight of all time?
Favorite fight? So obviously you get like the ones like the Lawler McDonald's that go up there. Personal ones to me, I really like Ben Henderson versus Brandon Thatch. I was a massive fan of Ben Henderson at that point. It was like that era of lightweights. There was like Diaz, Ben Henderson, Pettis, Gilbert Melendez was doing well, and then Dos Anjos like ran through a lot of them. But I really like Ben Henderson versus Brandon Thatch because Ben Henderson was on like a 3-fight skid at that point. Just jumped up, took the fight, jumped up to welterweight. Brandon Thatch was undefeated and knocking everyone out. And he just put this unreal performance like moving and boxing and chain wrestling. I remember me and Harry were that motivated after watching that fight on the Sunday morning. We went to the gym and we did like a 5-hour session. We did like an hour on bags, an hour on weights, a 2-hour gi session, and then an hour of calisthenics. But like, not a smart session, but we were just that like pumped off of watching that fight. It's one that sticks out in my memory. I also really like Dos Anjos versus Anthony Pettis. That was just because I wasn't expecting that at all. Anthony Pettis had an air of invincibility. He's like, if you stand up, he's going to body kick you and head kick you. If you take him down, he's going to armbar you and submit you. And then Dos Anjos just constant pressure, feinted him, blasted left kicks. Did these like, you do like a flying knee and then come down into a takedown and just had this insane top game and insane cardio. And then you find out after he completely torn his MCL and he couldn't train for 2 weeks. He just did like assault bike for 2 weeks before the fight. Those are 2 fights that really stick out to me. Is like Rafael Dos Anjos versus Anthony Pettis and Ben Henderson versus Brandon Thatch. On top of that, pretty much any prime championship Demetrius Johnson performance.
And moving on, so what is your favorite finish from one of your fights?
From my fight, my favorite finishes, I think the Truman fight is obviously like the prettiest finish, like the clean shot, a little call out after whatever. I was actually more happy in that fight though. There's a clip where I slip with a jab and come back with a right straight, and I managed to straight punch, keeping my elbows tight, and I keep my back foot on the floor. It's like I always knew I had a good body hook, whereas I struggled with that little aspect, like throwing nice straight punches, keeping my feet on the floor. I like the last fight. I was watching Anderson Silva versus Rich Franklin in the hotel room before the fight, and I wanted my finish to be like that, just a methodical 1 shot, 2 shot. If the punches doesn't work, go on to the tie clinch, and then I pick each elbow and I pick each knee. So if it took me 10 hours to finish someone, I could, because I'm not wasting my energy and I'm picking each shot.
And your favorite knockout ever?
Yeah, favorite knockout in any sport ever. Ooh, that's a tricky one. There's a kickboxer called Masaki Noiri who just has incredible combinations that I love. He'll do like, what was one? There was like a right uppercut, left hook into a high kick. He did this one where it was a left body hook, double left body hook, right body hook, left hook, and then he went to the body again. Then he threw like a left knee, a right knee, 2 left hooks to the head, and then a right high kick. Just all of his knockouts just have this meanness and a flow to it. You know, he does like toe kick knockouts where he peels his toes back and kicks them into the midsection. A lot of Kyokushin stuff. He is one of my Masaki Noiri. If you haven't watched it, try and find like some highlight reels of him. he's got these amazing knockouts that are just like, wow, what the fuck? He did that. Crazy knees from mad angles. Any of Samart Payakaroon's knockouts. There's a famous one where he dodges 13 punches. Then just goes for a stroll and comes back in with the left hand and knocks the guy out. If you Google like Samart dodges 13 punches, that's a good one.
Yeah, I'll definitely take a look. What is your favorite submission to practice?
To practice, it's just whatever works. And it's like when you drill a different submission, you drill in a different aspect of it. Really, it's like, when you're drilling your arm bars, you're drilling like pinching in, really killing the space, having that control over it. Some submissions you're drilling and you just kind of practicing the scrambling into it fast, like a dart sometimes, or a lot of guillotines. I love the guillotines. Marcelo Garcia. I've watched loads of Marcelo Garcia, one of my favorite grapplers to ever watch.
And in your opinion, who is the MMA GOAT?
It's a struggle to decide because a lot of it's just very personal and emotional. Because you can make an argument about anyone. It's like Demetrius Johnson is my favorite, the one I like to watch. When I watch him, I immediately want to go and train. But he doesn't have as many title fight wins as John Jones. But then John Jones tested positive and fought a lot of people when they were old. I think on balance, if I made a short list, I'd go GSP, Demetrius Johnson, possibly either like Jose Aldo or DC.
Yeah, I would agree with that as well. Your favorite fighter to watch? I know you answered probably, but who's your favorite fighter to watch?
So I really like watching like the prime Rafael dos Anjos performances. Demetrius Johnson, probably my favorite. At the minute, well, I like Fiziev. I really like Rafael Fiziev, and he's going to fight Rafael dos Anjos, so that's really exciting. I like Petr Yan, that calm style. I take a lot off of that calm style, just measured tight, seeing everything coming. Yeah, Petr Yan's like really high on the list of people I like watching at the minute. Yeah, probably them, like Fiziev and Yan. I really like them at the minute. And Beneil Dariush, he's another one. Oh, and Gregor Gillespie. Now I'm just thinking of everyone, but those are like names I really like watching at the minute. A lot of lightweights, to be honest.
Yeah. And do you have any routines or superstitions before a fight?
I have a few routines. Just I'm not a big fan of superstitions. I don't. When people say I need to wear this pair of socks because I won with it before, they're basically taking an uncontrollable situation, a fight, and trying to add a layer of control. And I like the uncontrollable nature of it. But in terms of a routine, I always, before, like, first part of the warm up is I'll stick Beyonce, Jay-Z, Crazy in Love in my headphones and just dance around the warm up room to it. I don't think it's anything specific with that song. I just like dancing to start a warm up because sometimes maybe you're a bit stiff, you're a bit tense, you're a bit nervous. And if you drag that into your shadow boxing, you kind of shadow box a bit tense and nervous. And then you kind of like hit pads a bit tense and nervous. And then you grapple a bit and you keep that the whole way through into the fight. Whereas I think if you dance, there's a few clips of me dancing before fights in the warm-up room. It just kind of loosens you off. You do something silly, and then you start shadowboxing, and there's none of that tension and none of that nerves. So it's like you're getting rid of it just by dancing about to some Beyonce.
And what would you say is the most notable moment of your career so far?
The one people have asked about the most is that Get That Man a Pizza with Dean Truman. After I got the liver shot KO, people asking, "Oh, what to get that man a pizza? Oh, that's funny." Oh, that like once or twice in Greg's. People I sort of recognise, and they're like, "Oh, you said that get that man a pizza thing. Oh, that was funny." I'm like, "Oh yeah, so." And then people realise me as a palmo guy now, but then people penning me down as a pizza guy. I'm like, a pizza is a side. A palmo is a main dish, and a pizza is a side dish.
And what is your go-to food after each weigh-in?
Oh, after a weigh-in. Oh yeah. So after a weigh-in, it's just like rehydration with electrolytes. You've kind of got to be a bit boring after the weigh-in. It takes a bit of discipline because you've been dieting. You've finally made that weight to not eat any shit that's just going to mess your guts up. So it's kind of plain white rices and all that, squares bars and easy to digest carbs. I will normally get like one slice of pizza from somewhere, even if it's just a great slice of pizza. That kind of comes back into the routines. I don't know why. I think just one bit of something salty, carby, that's just like a bit more emotionally like relaxing. It's not
And
like just plain rice and what have you. It's just nice after weighing without overdoing it.
so what is your go-to food after a fight?
So normally, because I'm in London on the night and on the next day, I just have a few Guinness and maybe some dodgy kebab somewhere. In the morning, I'll go with my girlfriend to a market like Borough Market, Greenwich Market, somewhere, just walk around and eat whatever's there and spend about 100 quid because I can't decide. So I have a bit from everything. But once I'm back in the borough, I can have the greatest regional dish that there is, the chicken parmesan. So if you don't know what it is, chicken beaten down, tenderized, breadcrumbs fried, covered in bechamel sauce, then covered in cheese, grilled, and sometimes it's topped with jalapenos, it's topped with pepperoni, it's topped with all these good things, bolognese, mushrooms, garlic butter. You have it with garlic sauce and chips. It is the tastiest food known to man. No fancy ass 100 quid steak comes close to a palmo.
And this leads us well onto the fan Q&A because Dan asks, where do you get the best palmo in Teesside?
So I'm a big fan of Central Park. Central Park's my go-to. You get really good chicken and pork ones there. Never had a bad experience at Central Park. That's the most solid palmo, I think, in Middlesbrough. Another one I really like is Supreme Greek. And sometimes, if it's like a bit of a dodgy chippy that doesn't do great palmos, a palmo in a bun or like a palmo wrap is still really nice. So if somewhere doesn't do a great palmo, get a palmo in a bun.
And next question from the fan. So Joseph asks, what was the experience like fighting with no crowd?
It's very interesting. It's you hear everything a bit more. You hear the corners. That's one of the big things. I remember when I fought Nicolo Solli, I could hear John Kavanagh in his corner, and he was calling for different things. And like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that. When I fought Dean Truman, I could really clearly hear Dan Hardy. Dean Truman lands a right hand, and Dan Hardy's like, "Oh, that got him. He's going to clinch now." And I knew, like, because obviously he watched my last fights where I wrestled loads. I'm like, I'm not clinching at all. I'm just going to bang. So that's a big thing. But
Tim,
crowd, no crowd, I don't think it has an effect really.
Tim asks, what is the fight scene like up in the Northeast?
It's unreal. Like the amount of gyms now, Middlesbrough Fight Academy, Newcastle Fight Centre, TFT, all these like great gyms. TFT is a real hub where it's got a lot of like UFC guys going through there, Paul Craig and Tom Aspinall. The Northeast is, I'll just say, it's the strongest region of MMA in the country.
And final question from the fans. Dan asks, what did you make of your brother's recent fight?
So a lot of people have said, Harry should have won that. I don't think that first round was a 10-8. I kind of think, yeah, maybe could edge it for a 10-8. But I've thought this, whether they declared it as a win or a draw at the end, whether the three guys' opinion was different, it doesn't change what's actually happened in those 3 rounds. So we've just got to work on that. There was like days where I'm part of coach, I'm just critical about it, rewatching it. Like his legs are too straight up in the air. He's switching his stance with no setup there. He needs to do this phase on his attack or what have you. But it took a few days for me to realize, holy shit, that was one of the best fights I've ever seen. And I was right there, seeing him carrying his opponent over towards the cage and slamming him in front of us. Like, I had to take myself out of brother coach mode for just a bit, like some days after, and realize, oh shit, that was an awesome fight. Loads of stuff to work on though, like the blocking punches with the face thing.
So I think we'll wrap it up here. I just want to say a big thank you to you, George, for taking the time out of your day to speak to me, especially when we are getting closer to fight week. I wish you all the very best for your next fight, and everyone at Primetime Combat wishes you the very best for the remainder of your career, and we can't wait to follow your journey. Thank you very much, George.
Right, thank you for having me. It was a nice Hardwick sheep for you.